So my question really is like, what now? What about the future of this? And it's definitely a question I'd like to put to somebody who's anti-regulation as well. Like, how does this? Do you just accept the chaos and you accept markets figure themselves out? Like, really, how does that play out? What are the stresses on that? Because it's like you put, many retail victims of these cons and failures will be turned off for a long time, if not permanently. And if we want Bitcoin to just, even on Bitcoin, if we just want Bitcoin to be this global reserve asset, it would benefit from some more stability, more stable pricing. I think some people are going to struggle with it, can be so volatile. And actually, another 4 years, because what's happened is we've had these blow ups and things every 4 years in, Bitcoin / crypto. Another 4 years time, if the market is 5-10x bigger again, how could we have an even bigger blow up with more crazy shit going on? And it's like, how do we get away from that? If we constantly leave it down to humans are greedy and will do stupid shit.
Right. And that's the tough part if you're looking at crypto as an ecosystem that is still developing, right? Which is, in my one scenario that would be just fine by me, is all these people do go away and they don't come back for another decade or another 20 years when things are, considerably more developed, even in an unregulated environment. And there is some emerging stability, because ultimately this is just not stuff that a lot of the people who were invested in it should have ever been invested in through whatever mechanism. As I mentioned, DeFi, 2-year-old technology in terms of real functionality. I mean, that's it's hyper novel, and the idea, again, that you're going to build like an institution on top of that already, you're putting the cart before the horse in a big way. And I feel like a lot of crypto, leading up to the crash, I don't know where we're at right now, we might still be way ahead of the fulfillment curve in terms of the valuation relative to the actual utility, And I think that even in Bitcoin, there is obviously still some divergence between what's really going on the ground and the prices on an exchange in the US. And when you start talking about more and more speculative stuff, the gap is even bigger. So I guess all I'm saying is that, like, what I try and convey in my columns pretty frequently is just like, if you don't understand this, don't put your money into it. And I mean, I guess at a certain point you have to accept that people just are not going to listen to that. They're not hearing the message. There's too many like YouTube crypto influencers, which, if you really want to start talking about regulation, make YouTubers somehow liable for the undisclosed promotion that they're doing. And I don't know, like that's a whole other issue. But I mean, you want people to get just the right amount of burn, might be one way of putting it. But I think looking at it from the other perspective, from a social perspective, if you're a government and you see what happened, in South Korea, their entire political system is going to be impacted by this, because the level of exposure to Luna was so high.
Wow.
It's literally in some small way causing social unrest. And so if you're a government who's looking 4 or 5 years down the road and you think you might get a 5x on just the crypto market, which means a 5x on the downside for whatever percentage of people get taken in by these con men next time around, you have to be looking at putting some kind of controls in place, because then you're going to have just people starving in the streets.
Yeah, well, the other thing that could I see a way it self-polices its way out of this, in that Mt. Gox blew up in, was it 13 or 12?
Yeah.
I think it might have been end of 13, early 14. Maybe.
Yeah. So Mt. Gox blew up, and after that, exchanges became a lot better at their technology, a lot better at their security practices, and now it's very, very rare that we see an exchange rug pull. We're not, it may not be over for now. We had, what was the Canadian one called?
Quadriga
blow up. But generally speaking, exchanges are becoming more and more trusted. Yes,
it's not your keys,
not your Bitcoin. Take your Bitcoin off exchanges. Absolutely, you should. But Voyager destroyed their business. Celsius destroyed their business. BlockFi got close to the edge with some of this. You've even had Genesis. I mean, Genesis, the talk is they've lost 500 to $1 billion somewhere in there.
Oh, I haven't heard that yet.
Yeah.
Wow.
Correct on Genesis, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Essentially their entire balance sheet for the last few years. These are all your primary lenders out in the market, right? I think who have you got left? Ledden, maybe one or two others more. If you're a survivor or you're building a new business, you've got the lessons of the previous companies. So maybe the borrow and lending market just becomes more responsible. People aren't going to be doing $650 million uncollateralized loans. They might not even be doing like 130% collateralized. Maybe out of this we get a stronger borrowing and lending market, and because of that, there's just less money out there to be leveraged.
Yeah, I mean that would be great. I think that lower leverage is generally good. I will say, whether it's through self-regulation or government stepping in, one major pillar of all of this that we haven't talked about yet is venture capital lockups for token positions, and that is one of the most egregious situations that's prevalent in crypto right now. Is that you can do what Mike Novogratz did. You can buy Luna for whatever, $1 per Luna, and ride it all the way up to $68 and then sell it right before it crashes, and you're a genius venture capitalist, even though it was obviously a Ponzi scheme from the start. And that, I think, is, morally, I find it unbelievably offensive, but also just technically in a market sense, the incentives are broken. You're giving somebody like Novogratz basically an incentive to say, Do Kwon was a very compelling speaker, and I thought that he could get a lot of people on side, and so I bought the token even though I knew it was a Ponzi because I believed that this guy was a good marketer. And I'm not saying that's what Novo is actually saying out loud, but that is the implicit reality of what they and a few other people did. And that to me is unacceptable as a status quo. I think that, this is where maybe some self-regulation can come in, because we need VC funds to say, okay, we'll at least take a 1-year lockup, for God's sake. Like start setting some standards for the way things work. Because I think we really have to get it out there that if you're a VC taking like a 2 or 3 month lockup, you're waving a flag that says I am going to dump on you, and that has to stop.
We don't have the exact amount on Genesis, but it's probably still unwinding, but it says hundreds of millions.
Yeah, I mean, I was told it was over $500 million.
See, if they're getting up to $500 million, I think maybe at the time that I wrote my piece, I was only aware that they had said hundreds, and I thought that maybe meant 2 or 3.
It's just too small a number at hundreds.
Yeah.
Fucking madness.
So that's not great.
No.
That is not great. No, I think that we've covered a lot. I mean, I guess the one thing that I would just hammer down that is difficult to really convey is we're still at a stage where you have to personally engage with the individuals involved and like make a judgment about their character too. And that's really tough. But I mean, if you look sort of the sterling examples, right, are both Do Kwon and Mashinsky were vicious when it came to responding to critics. And I don't mean vicious in a sense of being like effective or actually answering criticisms. I mean engaging in personal attacks, mockery, deflection, all of these rhetorical strategies to do anything but answer the very real questions that confronted their operations. And I mean, in some ways it informs the bigger question about regulation, because I think there's people like me who my whole job is to look people in the eye and try and figure out who they really are. And not everybody is good at that. And so I think that there were obviously people who, saw Do Kwon on CoinDesk TV talking to Christine Lee and just like dismissing the fact that he had gotten served at Mainnet and like saying the SEC doesn't matter to him and he doesn't care. And like that's an obvious red flag to somebody who is in the space. Or Mashinsky's various just personal attacks on people who are raising obvious objections. And that has to be, whatever kind of investor you are, even outside of crypto, the personal angle is always relevant and you can never take it for granted.
Yeah.
But I don't know if there's really any way to, it doesn't scale, right?
No.
So it's a problem.